Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. All right, so you will see I am back. I am back in my living room, and forgive me if I'm a little bit tired. I was also late with my questions today, so I'm still feeling a little bit jet lagged, but you know, some questions are in, and many of you, some of you have left questions in the chat, which I'll also be reading out as well. And isn't it interesting? Because of course, this is now post debate, as you guys will be realizing. So there's a few questions in there, a couple of questions which are more on the international side, and then we're just going to get into the weeds and talk obviously about Kamala Harris and talk about Duck-Larange and the dynamics and all of the stuff that is going on, because this is a very, very interesting time now, isn't it, with all this stuff. So forgive me if I'm feeling a little bit tired today. I also back to consultations as well. And it being Thursday, it means I do 3 consultations plus the show at the end of the evening. So I'm like, oh, my goodness. But there is so much to discuss. And you know, I love putting on these shows for you where we get to discuss, go into details of the nitty gritty of all the various different things that are going on. So before I begin, let's just say some hellos. So, oh, everyone's coming in now. So, here we are. So that's Betty. I think that's Betty. Yeah. Hello, Esoteric Musings. Hello there. Angela Locke is in the house. We've got Lilith. Oh, she's saying hello, Professor. Thank you very much. You probably saw me teaching in Santa Fe, I would imagine. What do we have here? We've got Hummingbird says, hi, Hoogie. Love your channel. Everyone click the thumbs up and subscribe. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. For more thrilling shows. Shakespeare, thanks. Yeah, we'll have to get Shakespeare's opinion on where Duck-Larange is now, what kind of state that he's in. And I've also got here as well some questions from Sybil asking about the Duck-Larange biopic. And then something about Congressman involved in this Bajat Smith. Okay. Oh, okay. So we got some juicy questions in there. So let me just drink a slurp of water. Forgive me, my voice is a little bit tired. Oh, I've been having to take lots of extra naps, and we will dive in and we'll get into all of your juicy questions. So question number 1, this is coming from Manuela Orchid. And she says, oh, now is the comments, because obviously normally I post up the questions earlier. I was so busy today, and I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot to post up on the community. So it was a bit late. There was only about 4 hours to get questions in. Anyway, she said, I thought for a moment that you couldn't make it. My question for today would be if you think the Ukraine war might end this year, because I heard some comments from our German Chancellor where it sounded as if he knows more than we do. It would be great. Much love, Manuela. And so we'll see. So just so you know, the outline of today's show today, it's obviously we've got this international question about Ukraine, but of course we've got also a question on the New York commissioner. And then it's going to be more focused on Kamala Harris and Duck-Larange and the questions that you've just put in the comments as well, with people trying to shut down the saga of the government again. So stay tuned, of course. Stay tuned for that as you all jump in on the chat. And let's get going. All right. So there'll probably be less of you today, actually, because I advertised so late. Bless. Such is life. Normally I do it 24 hours before, but anyway, let's have a look here. So Ukraine war, will it end this year? Will it end this year? Let's have a little look, see. With my rickety laptop. Ukraine war, Ukraine war. In this year. So, now we have to bear in mind that Iran has supplied Russia with more weapons, but there's, oh, look. Oh, of course. See, Putin is all over this. That's technically Biden or the Biden administration. Ooh. Ooh, okay. This is interesting. So Ukraine war, etc. Now, now think of the two cards that almost always come up whenever I'm talking about Russia. Yeah, the Empress and the Seven of Swords. So this is a classic, absolute classic. So you can see here, Spirit is tuning in immediately. So of course, look, the whole thing with Ukraine and stuff like that has been a hot mess, obviously, from day one. And one of the things that I really feel now is that Putinska is really trying to find ways to get out of this. Yeah, it has been extraordinarily expensive, not only in terms of financially, but in terms of cost of life. It's just been extremely detrimental, and it's just really not. It's not helped his cause. It's not helped his cause, and it's unified his enemies. So really, I'm seeing this really from the perspective of Putinska here. So in a sense, we know that he's not trying to get away with the war, so to speak, because obviously he went in and it was very obvious, you know, he attacked. I think this is him trying to get out of it discreetly. I think this is showing that Putin actually wants to get out of this. He's trying to find a way to sneak out where he can, where the war can end, and maybe he can save face. This is how I'm interpreting this card. And the reason why I'm doing that is because look at the next card. We see it's the Emperor, and we know, of course, that this is how Putin sees himself. He often shows up as the Empress as well, or the Queen's suit, as we know. I mean, he's got quite a broad spectrum, shall we say, as Putinska. But this is obviously how he wants to present to the world. But technically, it is turning up in the obstacle position, particularly because the first card is a negative card. So this is showing perhaps maybe how, you know, we can consider this card reversed, and when it's reversed, then the Emperor can become very cruel, exceptionally cruel. But this can also deal with dogma, overbearing male power, patriarchy, etc., and stuff like this. But what I feel that this is also saying as well, there are elements going on where maybe his power is also being undermined. I think there's probably quite a few people sneaking behind Putinska's back, yeah, undermining his leadership. And this could also be a reason why he probably wants this to kind of end sooner rather than later, because the longer it goes on now, particularly with Ukraine making incursions into Russia, I think this is something, of course, that is going to further undermine his authority. If you look here in the middle of the reading, we have got the King of Cups, which, as many of you know, when we do the political readings, this can often show up as the Joe Biden card, but I'm actually going to call it the Biden administration. And of course, when we think of Kamala as well, she is part of an extension of that administration as well. And like I said, she has been very resolute in her support of the Ukraine. So here you can see a bit of the American government, the Biden administration here. And if we look, we get the Five of Cups, which of course deals with endings, losses, betrayals, etc., and stuff like that. But there's still two cups left. Now, when I've pulled for Putin before in regards to this card, he's had this card come up before. And I think it is representing an end. I mean, would it be this year? I mean, I'm tuning in and I'm hearing it depends on winter. Depends on winter this year. If it is a very harsh winter this year, that may bring quite a bit of the shelling and the fighting to an end. Because A, it's just not going to be physically possible, because you can imagine all the fields will all be churned up, etc. It's going to be cold, freezing cold. So if winter is particularly harsh this year in Ukraine and in Russia, then maybe there might be a significant pause. In fact, that might actually be a get out clause as well for Putinska, where it could be like where the war is stopped and maybe it's not continued. If we look here, though, it's not a complete loss. There are 2 cups left standing. So even if the war were to end, let's not forget Putin is still one of the richest men in the world, and he's obviously going to try and salvage something out of this. But the outcome card is pretty interesting. Look, it is the Queen of Pentacles. So of course, has to be Kamala, doesn't it? How many times have I pulled it? I just mentioned her now. The Biden administration. The outcome card, oh my God, is this a little bit of a prediction for who might win the election? Ooh, I wonder, because this is the outcome card. And for me, this, when I'm talking politics, this is talking about Kamala, but it's also talking about stability, domesticity. It can also talk about the voting public or the populace of a nation. This is what I also associate this as well. And this is a card of stability, safety, security, or at least wanting it to be. I'm going to say, I'm not going to say it's going to end this year, like end by Christmas. I think that's probably too optimistic. Iran has given a lot of weapons and stuff like that, of course, to Russia. And, you know, I think I'm going to need to pull a clarifier on that Queen. But let's just say if it is a harsh winter may help bring the war to an end. It may contribute. It may give either side an excuse to stop fighting for a while. Let's just get clarification on that Queen, which I think is Kamala, as well as the domestic security of Russia and Ukraine. But really, I think it's Kamala. Let's just see. Oh, look at this. Look at the card that came out. Celebration. Women celebrating, but this is the card of celebration. Wow. Could it be that, look, here, let's just reiterate again, because I'm quite surprised by these cards. Here, like I said, I think this is Putin trying to get away with it, or trying to find a way out of the war, because it's undermining his leadership at home. He no longer feels like the emperor, like he's all powerful as he once was before. The Biden administration, of course, is putting on a lot of pressure, sustained pressure. And even though we're not hearing that much about Biden, he is still, of course, technically the president, and it is still his administration. There is a loss or an ending of something, but there's still 2 cups standing up. And could it be, if Kamala ends up becoming the leader of the United States, which I certainly hope she does, that there is a celebration? Maybe it's under her leadership that the Ukraine war is brought to an end. But I still think weather is a factor, and a harsh winter will help slow it down and give both sides an excuse maybe not to have so many troops on the ground. So thanks for that question. I wasn't expecting the cards to actually say as much as they did, but there you are. There you are. These things. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. But I think Kamala came through very strong there. Let's see here. Knowledge Seeker is saying, oh, what a lovely picture. Good evening, everyone watching from North Carolina. Thank you for joining me. And Michiko, and she's saying, what's good, Hogarth? Michiko was with us in Santa Fe. Thank you. Who's this here? Gelding. Hello, Hogarth and all. And then, hi, Hogie. Glad you're recuperating from your jet lag. Yes, yes, Foggy. I'm still trying. What? What's this? Did you see the woman killed as... Oh, that's a bit strange. So Mona is saying, I'm not even sure if I understand this. She's saying, hi, Mona. Hi, Hogarth. Did you see the woman killed a 78-year-old? Oh, right. 78-year-old baby on stage. I get it now. You're talking about Kamala. I was like, huh? I didn't understand it for a while. So thank you, everyone, for joining me. Right, let's move on to the next question because I want to squeeze in all of these ones that have come in the comments down the side. So that was Ukraine war. Will it end? Very interesting cards. Kamala is clearly a factor. I've not made like official predictions yet. I mean, like I said, she does have a fate and destiny connected with America, but there is so much going on. But she did come as the outcome card, and then the clarification was a celebration. So she's sort of like turning up anyway, energetically. Let's just, before we've even really kind of got onto her. All right, Nick Minks has said, New York Police Commissioner Edward Caban has resigned a week after it came to light that federal authorities had raided his home and seized his phone. New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced, do the cards show how serious this investigation is? Let's have a look. Let's have a little look. So Edward Caban, what do we know about Edward Caban? Is this thing very serious? Edward Caban, total cold read. I don't know anything about this guy at all. Edward Caban, let's have a little look-see. Edward Caban. Edward Caban. Edward Caban. Edward Caban. Oh dear. Oh well, I think he's toast. Well, I mean, it seems he's already resigned, but I can see why. I can see why he's resigned. All right, here we go. Four of Cups. Yeah. So I think with the revelations of the raid, he realized that it really wasn't working. And here you can see is not liking any of the options that are on the table and is ignoring the one that's come out of the air. But I think in this case, he actually took the one which was coming out of the air, which was resigning. So he's probably resigned to maybe kind of stem the hemorrhage, you know, hoping that it will, you know, maybe kind of lessen the level of investigation into him. However, look at his obstacle card. Yeah. The devil. Yeah. The devil. So, yeah, there is certainly, I mean, this is a clear hallmark of corruption, isn't it? You guys have known, you've been reading with me for a long time. And, you know, when the devil shows up, it's not good. Yeah, isn't it? Some people say there might be a slight whiff of tinge of something positive with the devil, but not normally, and particularly in this kind of context here as well. So we can see here they've seized his phone, etc., and all that kind of stuff because they probably got dirt. Yeah, there. And of course, this can talk about obsession. This can talk about addiction. This can talk about codependency, moral bankruptcy, mental illness, health, poor health, or yeah, it's just not a positive. It's not a positive card. So it does look like, yeah, there could be something here. I mean, they've obviously, if he's what is he again? He's the what? The police commissioner. Yeah. So, and yeah, it says he was resigned a week after it came to light the federal authorities had raided his home and seized his phone. Yeah. So they knew that he was up to something. Quite obvious, isn't it? If we look here, I think it could have something to do with fraud. It could have something to do with corruption and wealthy benefactors that have potentially have been paying him off, or he was, well, and this could also be talking about him maybe being in it for the money, because this can be quite a positive card, but of course it's being preceded by the devil, and this guy has already resigned, suggesting that, you know, there's quite a bit going on. So I'm going to have to read this in the context of someone attached to a wealth, potentially vice, taking backhanders, him wanting to see himself as the king. I mean, he is, after all, the police commissioner, so a very powerful, influential person. But it seems like he was also doing it for the backhanders as well. Because let's not forget, you know, there is a lot of drugs flowing into a lot of places, particularly in America. And it often does need someone near the top to be, you know, turning a blind eye. You know, I don't want to throw too many aspersions, but you can't have the devil next to the king and have this be a virtuous king. Yeah, it's just not. If we look here, here's the end of the career. Yeah. The Four of Swords, as you guys know, whenever I see this, this is the card, of course, of being wounded in battle. The positive of it can be about meditation, reflection, but very often it does deal with endings. And as you've heard me say before, I associate this card with the end of careers. Obviously, it makes sense. He's just resigned. His career is over. Toast. Done. Yeah. And then if we look here, this is the deepening investigation. We have the Hermit here. So this is him reflecting on his own life. Obviously, he's, you know, under investigation. But this is also the investigation itself, which is obviously going to unearth more things, probably in regard to, you know, the corruption and stuff like that. So I'm saying we're probably going to learn a bit more in the next coming weeks and months. But I think he's toast. Yeah, I think he's done. And they're probably going to find quite a bit on him. He may have to try and do some kind of plea deal, something like that. Let's just see what the clarify card could be on the Hermit. If it's positive, he might be able to squeaky bum his way out of it. If it's negative, maybe not. Let's have a look. Oh, look. It came back. You see that? I shuffled, picked, and the Hermit came back. So this means this is going to be a deep, ongoing investigation. And it could be, you know, like when your jumper has a loose thread, and you know when you pull on it, and then the whole thing, remember like in the cartoons, they would show the whole thing unraveling. I think this investigation is actually going to reveal a lot of stuff. So that is certainly not the end of it. Wow. All right, so let's have a look here. Question number 3. Now we're going to get into a bit of duck l'orange. Let's see who else is here in the chat. Who's this? Ontario Watkins. Hello there. Thank you so much for joining me. Yo, thank you so much. Nancy is here. Welcome home. Thank you. Yes, it's nice to be back. One of the first things I did was I went to my local cafe and had a proper full English breakfast. It was delicious. It was so tasty. Oh my God, I missed it. Oh, what's this? News alert, Texas. Texas sues for access to record of women. Look, yes, Texas sues for access to records of women seeking out-of-state abortion, the New York Times. You see, it's just outrageous. It's just outrageous that Gilead, remember I said X marks the spot. Texas will be in the news, and I still believe they might try a little secede. I know everyone's going to tell me it's illegal, it's not possible. They're doing something batshit is going on in Texas. And particularly if Kamala wins, they may act up a lot. But look at this. This is already outrageous. I mean, wanting to monitor women's pregnancies, their miscarriages. Whoever would have thought in the land of America that, you know, you would have this level of state intrusion being proposed? It's truly astonishing. Truly astonishing. But thanks for that news flash there. All right. So Nick Minks has asked, she said, the Orange One has now stated he won't debate Kamala again. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, got rinsed. Or as we would say in the UK, done like a kipper. Yeah, done like a kipper. Will this be detrimental to his campaign? although many will be grateful not to have to hear any more of the buffoonery. So, I mean, the debate. Look, first of all, she did very well. She did very, very well. She was focused. She was able to stay on topic. She was able to keep herself steady in the face of the deluge of outrageousness that was coming out of Dr. Orange. He looked very angry, very frustrated. He kept taking the bait because she knows he's got no self-control. I'm sure his advisors, his handlers, yeah, were probably standing at the side with syringes and tranquilizers ready to inject the guy after. He just cannot, he's incapable of discipline, yeah, of discipline. And she knows this. And she just laid up the little morsels, the little mouse traps everywhere. And he basically took every single one. One of the things that I really found impressive, and I just thought she means business, was when she crossed the aisle and she shook his hand. Do you see, he was, obviously he couldn't flinch, but you could see he was deeply uncomfortable that she had come into his space, much like how he did with Hillary. Do you remember how he menaced her and paced her in their debates? She obviously took some notes and just went in there and was like, Kamala Harris, you know, introduced herself, some little nerves at the start. And then once she got up to speed, oh my God, it was just, you know, the bit, look, here I am waxing lyrical now, but we, you know, obviously we've all seen the debate, but the bit when she said, I spoke to your generals and the people that work with you, and she said, they tell me you are a disgrace. It was like, psh, psh, psh. At last, someone using the language required, yeah, the language required to take on Dr. Orange. And in many ways, Kamala is articulating much of what I've been wanting and what many of us readers have been wanting the Democrats to do for years. Take the argument to him, cut him off at the knees, just repeat his language back to him. That's all the incrimination that you need. You know, it's all there. But because she's a prosecutor, she has that prosecutorial mind, and she's able to organize herself. She's able to organize her thoughts. She's able to hold an argument in her head, hold a point in her head, no matter of all the noise and the bluster coming from Dr. Orange, which is what Trump relies on anyway. So him not debating, will this be detrimental to his campaign? Let's have a look. I've got my thoughts on that, but let me see what the cards have to say first. Will this be detrimental to his campaign if he no longer debates? I mean, it's been deeply unflattering for him. Deeply, but let's see what the cards have to say. Will this negatively impact Trump's campaign if he no longer continues with debates? Which I think might be which is probably one of the smartest things that he can do, because he got trounced. Let's see here. Let's affect the campaign. Let's affect the campaign. Well. Look at that card. All right, here we go. Oh, there's almost 500 of you in now. Thank you so much for joining me. I was late posting this. I really wasn't expecting many people at all, but thank you so much. And of course, please don't forget as well to like and subscribe and share and press the bell notification button so you're up to date with everything. All right, now look at this. How will it affect the campaign? Well, look, Look, he's a bit all over the place. Yeah, look, here we are. We've got the Two of Swords, which is about what? Trying to balance things, trying to juggle. But this can also be a card of manipulation. But the important thing to remember with this card is, look, the choppy seas in the background. She literally threw Duck-Larange off balance. Yeah, she literally put him off balance. Now that the debate is over, he's probably looking back at it going like, oh my God, but that's literally what she did. And she's one of the first people that have been able to actually do that in a very succinct, calculated, and effective way. She discombobulated him. Now, you would think in past debates, you would think that would be quite easy to do that with Trump because he's not very coherent, and a lot of what he says doesn't make sense. But very often what's happened is he says things that are so outrageous and he's so unpredictable, you know, people don't feel like they can cope. And one thing I should add, his Mercury sits in sidereal Gemini, but it's in a section of the sky that I call Drama Ardra. And Ardra is known, the deity of Ardra Nakshatra is Rudra, the god of storms. It's the tornado. So that's very often what Duck-Larange does. He creates a tornado atmosphere, and many people lose their bearings. But this time she was able to do it to him. Yeah. If we look at his obstacle card, you see how clear it is? Heartache. He's devastated by what has happened. Duck-Larange is devastated by what has happened. Obviously, he needs to come out with his bluff and bluster and come out with this, that. But really, it was daggers to the heart. While it was happening, I think he was just in survival mode. And then, you know, he got his anger going and, you know. But I think on reflection, when he looks back, he's like, oh man, I got licked. Yeah, he got licked. And the thing for me that was also very pertinent as well, you know, was the closing arguments. Did you notice he had no vision at all for America? Nothing. Had nothing positive to say. It's like, we're going to the dogs, America's blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what? You're campaigning for president and you have no vision for the future at all? Anyway, but he's devastated. He won't admit it, but he is. He got a dagger to the heart. Here we can see why. Who threw that dagger in? We can say, of course, that has to be Kamala as well, doesn't it? Look, a queen, yeah? So, but also as well, the Queen of Wands is also the orator as well. This is the woman that can hold court. Very good at bringing people together. This is a card of bringing people together. It's a kind of a collegiate card. And again, using her intuition. Kamala used her time very, very well to not only attack Duck-Larange, but do as best as she could to get some policy things out. She was trying to say, this is what I would do if I were in charge. Because remember, wands are about action. Yeah. So in this guise here, she wasn't the Queen of Pentacles as what I normally associate with her. But in the debate, she was much more like the Queen of Wands. Yeah. Because it's that fire, it's that passion. She communicated very, very well. If we look here, just in case we weren't sure, she got the stick out for Duck-Larange and beat him over the head with it. She beat him with his own words, his own rhetoric. I think she spoke very well as well about January 6th, reminding everyone what he did and how he behaved and stuff like that. So this is her, in a way, kind of taking on that more masculine role. Let's not forget as well, the Ace of Wands can often be, people might find it a little bit indelicate, but it is actually associated with the male phallus. Yeah. But it's coming next to, yeah, the Queen of Wands. So this is also suggesting as well that Trump was emasculated, but not only that, she took on that role. She was in her divine feminine and her divine masculine at the same time. And this is why I really, really hope that she wins, because she would make an excellent president. She can do both. She really can do both. She can step into that. And she really looked like a commander in chief. And I think the vast majority of people agree with that. Even her detractors, I'm sure, would grudgingly admit that they wanted to give her compliments. The ultimate effect here with Duc Lagrange, look at this. Yeah, 8 of Cups, exiting stage left. So look, isn't it perfect? Isn't it? Look how perfect it is. He said he doesn't want to do any more debates. I think he is done. I don't think his ego, his fragile ego, can withstand another contact with reality and with Kamala Harris. I really don't think it can. I think he felt very shaken after it. Yeah, very shaken, very upset because of because of her. He could barely even look at her. He could barely even look at her. But also as well, her command, her clout. He felt clobbered. And then of course he's had to exit the stage. And again, as you know, I've been saying ad nauseum for a long time now, I really do believe when the you know what keeps hitting the fan for Trump, and particularly if Kamala wins, this could be Duc Lagrange leaving the country. It would not make sense for him to stay. Jail would be virtually guaranteed. So he may have to exit stage left because she's got a tremendous amount of clout, Kamala. And I think what's happened, she's just gaining more and more confidence, looking more and more like a leader. I think she'll be respected internationally. And I think people's misgivings and their critique of her, I think a lot of people are working out. It's because she didn't really have the chance to shine, because being the vice president is being the number 2, is being a few steps behind, and I don't think she ever wanted to try and upstage Biden. She was incredibly loyal to him, but now that she has the spotlight, my goodness, isn't she doing well? But let's not take this for granted. Oh, look at that. When I split talking about, oh, look at that. Just split the deck. You see that female power there as well, that divine feminine. And then look at this card here, the Ace of Pentacles. She's getting a lot of omens. She's getting a lot of very positive omens. Do you remember when I was in Paris? She got the Empress card as well, and the Emperor. Very, very interesting. We'll have to see how it pans out. All right, now let's get to the, because remember, obviously the GOP are going to try absolutely everything they can to scupper her. So the answer to that is, yes, it will affect his campaign in the sense of he just may even just be like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Anyway, let's look here. So Nick Mink says, after Kamala called out Duc Lagrange and the Supreme Court stooges he put in place, that was good what she did as well. And she also called out JD Vance as well. Was it Vance? Yeah. Was it? She called out someone. I'm getting that wrong, aren't I? Who did she call out? There was someone that she called out. I think it was JD Vance that was, kind of sort of slow walked it. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but whoever it was that delayed the initial investigation, remember she called him out. And I was like, wow. So let's see here. After she called out the Supreme Court stooges put in place, will the Supreme Court now retaliate by giving more protection to the convicted one, or will they be wary of being seen to aid him? So this is about the Supreme Court. The important thing to remember, which I think is important, with what they did recently, in them trying to empower Duc Lagrange and his potential presidency, they've actually shot themselves in the foot. Because like I said, if Kamala wins, now Biden, of course, is not going to use his kingly powers. He isn't, and he doesn't want to abuse powers, which is quite right for him. But if Kamala wins, as I said, and I certainly hope she does, and she's getting a lot of positive omen cards, I said she will not only be commander-in-chief, she'll be head prosecutor-in-chief, and she will be queen. because that's essentially what they've done. You remember they said the office of the presidency has basically made, the Supreme Court has made a king. But of course, the equivalent of that is the queen. And you see how that queen energy is showing up. So, you know, they've shot themselves in the butt here. But anyway, let's see. Supreme Court, will they give more protection to the convicted one? I don't think they can actually give him any more because he's been given the maximum. But let's see what the energy is around the Supreme Court if Kamala wins, assuming she wins. Remember, guys, it is still a close race. I know there's the tremendous optimism. I must also remind everyone, Uranus will be on the star Algol again on the election, exactly on the 5th and the 6th of November. But will Uranus give us a positive surprise? Because he's known as what? Revolution, the mold breaker. Could it be that Kamala wins and shatters that mold, breaks the last major glass ceiling? That would be very Uranian in the positive, and I really hope that is the case. But let's see the Supreme Court energies if Kamala wins. And remember as well, like I said, the GOP are going to try every sabotage conceivable. They're going to try and shut down the government. Yeah, there's a question there. And you remember I said unusual things could happen around the election. They may even try and stop it happening from altogether. Well, 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 look at this. There we are. There are the cards. All right. We have another slurp. Oh, 584 of you. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying the show. Please don't forget as well to like and subscribe and press the bell notification so you know when I'm on. All right. Supreme Court. If Kamala wins, chaos. They're going to be like, oh, my God. Ah, yeah, because she's already voiced her critique. Now, the reason why they're going to be such in a flap and not sure what to do, because in a way, she's one of their own. She is a prosecutor. She does know the law. She has courthouse experience. Remember, if you're Supreme Justice, you kind of rely on the fact that the president, in most cases, 9 times out of 10, in fact, I think every time out of 10 pretty much, will not have a professional prosecutorial background. Kamala is different. She knows the lingo. She knows the language. She's come through so many different courts. She will know how to prosecute them on their record. Now, obviously, there's 1 or 2 ones that aren't too bad. But if we think of what's his face? Oh, God, I can't even, you know, the nasty ones. Yeah, their minds have just slipped out. And Thomas and one of the other douchebags, you know, all 600 of you now. She will know how to deal with them. And look, you can see here, they're going to start fighting amongst themselves, assuming she wins. Yeah. When we look at the obstacle card, look at this: mental health issues, things not being well, issues to do with health in general. But this is also the general disease and dis-ease that they will feel. So they're like those that are shady, the ones that are tainted with corruption, are really going to be in a bit of a flap. They're literally kind of howling at the moon because they know that they're going to be in trouble. Because if she can come after a ex-president, i.e. Duck Larange, then she can certainly tackle them. And they are going to be dealing with an equal. Yeah. Most of the time, the Supreme Court justice can run circles around the presidency because they don't. The president traditionally, I mean, if you think of, you know, I mean, look, if you think of Ronald Reagan, you know, a lot of people, some people like him, but he was an actor. You know, Trump was a reality TV star. You know, that's not, you know, major clout when it comes to the courts, even though, you know, obviously Duck Larange has seen a lot of a courthouse in his life. But you know what I mean? She is of a different caliber. She would be the most qualified ever If we look here, we know this often refers to the GOP, doesn't it? We're trying to project the ideal family when we all know it's fake. So this is talking about, that's talking about them. But look, the sword of truth. Kamala will bring the sword of truth, assuming she wins, and judgment, just in case we weren't sure. So if she wins, they're in a flap for a good reason, because it's likely that she'll bring some indictments, some changes to term, how long you can serve as a justice, lots of stuff. And I think a lot of people are going to be taken to the cleaners. So especially with that, I mean, look, they got literally the judges get the judgment card as an outcome card, so doesn't bode so well for them. Anyway, that's what they need. The whole place needs bleaching, to be honest. Bleaching. So Sandra saying, sharing healing vibrations, uplifting everyone, everything, everywhere. Thank you so much. What's this? What's Betty saying? Ontario Watkins, he does that a lot. Oh, right. It makes him a tough, strongman power move. Okay, I think that's just a separate thing within the chat. Let's see here. Let's see here. Foggy's saying, I love your purry. Must be voice. It must mean. It's a little bit rusty, though. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. How about the war in Israel and Gaza? Is VP Kamala Harris putting an end to that war also? She's certainly going to give it a good old go. Yeah, she's certainly going to try. And that's something as well where she has been very good, but also very nuanced, saying that Israel has a right to protect itself, obviously, but also acknowledging the suffering of the Palestinians as well. Because, as you know, as I've been saying ad nauseum for a while, I said the youth in particular detest everything that is happening in that part of the world right now. And it's good as well that she is acknowledging and, you know, acknowledging that that distress. And you could see, did you see the steely look she gave to Netanyahu as well when he came? You know, she shook his hand and stuff. But when you read the body language, and that's what I like about Kamala, she's very expressive. And she almost has an actor's technique. She is very good at non-verbal communication, which she showed to masterful effect once she warmed up in the debate. And so she's very good at that. Very, very good at that. All right, so let's start reading some of the comments, questions you left here. Let's see. Let's look here. Let's tackle this one and then we'll read. So this one's coming from Sybil here. Thank you, Sybil, so much for your question. Okay, so GOP is now threatening to shut down the government if Congress doesn't pass the SAVE Act, a bill meant to disenfranchise voters by making it insanely difficult to register. Will this go anywhere? Oh, you see, remember I said the GOP will do their best to sabotage, absolute best to sabotage. So obviously they want to shut down the government before the election. I think Lena's been saying it for a while. But you know, this whole thing with the budget thing and the shutting down the government stuff, I just want to say just to America as a whole, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but that really has to stop. All this silliness about whether or not the government's going to be shut down or open or blah, it has to stop. It happens like twice every year. It's ridiculous. It's just not a way to run a country. Like, countries just don't do this. It's just deeply, deeply strange, and it's very disruptive. It's very melodramatic. It's very over the top, and it doesn't make any sense. You decide your budgets, you know, and of course, obviously you guys watching are frustrated by it all as well, but I'm just trying to give you an international perspective here. We find it effing weird. It doesn't make sense. How can the country be brought to the brink of disaster like twice a year? And how can it be used as this? And this is what the GOP are doing. You know, they would rather close down the country. They would rather shut down the country than have this election. And remember what I was saying, the Algol, yeah, treachery, the star of treachery. Uranus is there, which is something weird, yeah. The positive of that Uranus is Kamala winning. The shadow of it could be this. Let's see. Oh God, I'm having a bit of a rant today, aren't I? Sorry, guys. I don't mean it as any personal umbrage or offense to you personally. You know that, don't you? But I'm just expressing my frustration that this absurdity just keeps happening. It's just so dysfunctional. All right. GOP with the... Will they succeed in shutting things down? Let's see. Was I reading it? Shut down the... Will this go anywhere? Will the SAVE bill go anywhere? The fact that they can threaten to basically shut down the country, to stop an election, and then the only way to avoid it is to introduce a bill that is going to disenfranchise voters. What a load of effing BS. It's just ridiculous. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at this. Oh, the cards are crystal clear, folks. Crystal clear. The Tower, they mean to bring absolute chaos. What they want to do is they want to blow everything up. They want to shut down the government as a way to potentially prevent the election even happening. This is how desperate they are now. They're outrageous, these people. Absolutely outrageous. They need locking up, the lot of them. But that's what their intention is. Chaos, shutting down the government, you know, blasting everything, interfering in the election by literally closing everything down, trying to turn everyone into a frenzy so they can't even vote. Yeah. Why are they doing it? Look at this. The Emperor shows up. Again, this is what? Patriarchal power, but it's showing up in the obstacle position. So this is, in many ways, it can be seen as reversed, which is what? The cruelest incarnation of the Emperor. This is not the divine. In this way, sometimes it can be the divine masculine. In this way, it is the opposite of the divine masculine. This is cruel. This is small-minded. This is controlling in the extreme. This is the Gilead they want to bring in. This is the government acting to monitor women's menstrual cycles and their pregnancies and all of this BS that they want to throw. Yeah. Because that's the kind of tyranny that they want it to bring in. Now, in regards to this legislation, no one is liking what is on the table because of what they're threatening to do. Yeah. So imagine if, look, you've got the 3 cups here, and then there's the 1 cup that is coming. Maybe there could be some kind of last minute fix, something yet not seen to avoid this anguish. I hope. Yeah, I hope. If we look here, we've got the Ace of Wands that comes back again. So it's kind of like, now this is a card that's normally associated with success. Yeah. So could it be, in order that the government can proceed, that maybe they get a little bit of success? I'm hoping not. But remember, I have to read the cards. I have to read the cards. And the question is, will they succeed? They're certainly going to be very disruptive. But look at the outcome card. Everything tied up in knots. This may as well be America tied up in knots here. This is what their whole point is. They want to entangle, tie up democracy. You could almost be like, this is democracy being held hostage. And the way they're doing it is by entangling the economy and threatening to shut down the government. So I think what they're going to do is, I think the Democrats are going to be like, we can't give you this idea that you're saying that you want. We can't allow you to openly suppress voters. And they're going to be, all right, well, that's it. We're going to just threaten to shut down everything. Let's get some clarification on this 8. I'm going to pull some clarifiers here, and then we're going to talk about Duc Larange's movie. I'm going to pull 3 on this one. Get the clarification. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, so the clarification on, the 8 of Swords. Look, burdensome. The GOP are going to try and burden the American people and the American economy as much as they possibly can. Because again, they've got this nostalgia about the past, wanting to take everything back to the past. But what has Kamala been saying? We're not going back. However, we have the Hermit here as the outcome card. So this is, again, deep reflection, research, trying to come up with a solution. It's going to be a tricky one, guys, because they know that if they allow the elections, democracy to go ahead unfettered, because this is what they're trying to do, they know the outcome for them is not going to be good. So I think the Democrats, they're going to have to work extremely hard, and they're going to have to give something, a little something of what they want. But this is also based on deep reflection and research. So it's a tricky one. They may be able to squeeze a little bit of a concession, but then it's like choosing between plague and cholera. Very, very difficult. One thing I am certain, though, is that the GOP are certainly going to try and lock down the government. I mean, what other option do they have left now? Outrageous, isn't it? What a bunch of you-know-whats. Here, another one here from Sybil. So she says, Sybil, hi Hoagie, big fan, thank you, thanks so much. Duc Larange biopic The Apprentice will finally play in theaters next month. Do you see this supervillain origin story having a significant impact on the election? Oh, let's have a look. Good question. Will the Duc Larange movie have an impact on the election? I mean, it's as if people need reminding of his crookery, but maybe with swing voters, I think the rusted on may just celebrate it, start calling it a classic, the MAGA crowd, because they're so far gone. But let's just see. Will this movie affect the election for Trump? Will the Apprentice movie affect Duc Larange and his campaign? If the tower comes back again, then I would say yes. Let's see. Ah! Well. All right. Wheel of Fortune turns up. So potentially, yes. Yeah, this is like spinning, you know, well, maybe not quite like in the casinos. Maybe it's because I'm recently back from Las Vegas. But it means the potential for change is there. So yes, this movie does have the potential to change the fate and destiny of the outcome of the election for Trump. But which way is the wheel going to turn for him? Yeah. A hint comes with the next card. If you see here, it's the 7 of Wands, which is having to battle, having to defend oneself. So this could suggest that the movie may put Trump into defense mode, or people maybe come out to defend him. But either way, it's probably not going to be the most flattering biopic. Let's put it that way. I've got no idea. It's certainly not something I plan to watch. Now, if we look here, we've got the Three of Pentacles, which of course is also about collaboration, cooperation, working together on a joint project. So certainly he'll be kind of going to his allies, but let's not forget as well, the shadow of this card can deal with corruption, embezzlement and stuff like that, particularly when we see the card that is next. Again, for the second time tonight, you know, the devil. Yeah, the devil. So he's going to work very hard with his PR teams to try and spin, maybe the contents of the movie and stuff like that. I'm sure it's probably going to make quite a bit at the box office. I'm sure quite a people will like to have a look at it. But we see here the devil. So in many ways, this could be showing, you know, maybe the more unflattering side. Well, not that there is ever a flattering side, but it's not necessarily going to show Duck Larange in the best light. And it will certainly affect his mood and how he feels about things. And, you know, maybe this will be what some people need. You know, some people need things explicitly explaining to them. You know, maybe this will finally reveal his shadow to those that have been ignoring it or just not interested. But if we look here, we get Temperance as the outcome card, which is normally quite a positive card. So what this says to me is this the way I'm interpreting this, the movie may make people, maybe people that are undecided, reconsider. That's what I'm seeing that it could do, because this is the card of balancing, harmony and stuff like that. So hopefully those that were thinking of voting for Trump maybe decide to vote against. I think that needs a clarifier on that to see if it's going to be a positive balance in favor of Duck Larange, or maybe not so much. Let's pull a card on that one. Have a clarification on the balancing energy. Oh, interesting. We get here the Knight of Pentacles. So this is the loyal knight, but this can also be seen as the mercenary. So this is what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to make some money at the box office. Those that are going to vote for Trump are going to vote for Trump anyway. There may be a little bit of movement. There may be a little bit of movement with undecided voters. But I think this is more of a money maker. I think this is just more of a money maker. It's probably going to do quite well at the box office. I'm going to say it's going to shift the dial a little bit. But those that are for Trump embrace all of his devilish qualities as well. So that's already baked. That's already baked in. They'll probably just see it as entertainment or fake news or something like that. Anyway, I will leave it there. The hour has gone in a flash and I need to rest my voice. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. 673 of you in the end. I mean, that's pretty close to my record there. That's very, very good. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much as well for all the comments that you've left. And here, I can't read through them all now. Otherwise, you know, the show will go on for another half an hour. But what's this here? Foggy, when did we cross over from desperately wanting Trump gone to desperately wanting Trump and the Project 25 book by George Orwell to come to life? Yeah. Funny times. Funny times. Remember as well, the USA is in a Rahu Dasha, and the Rahu Dasha is wild. But Kamala is also in her Rahu Dasha as well, and she has it in the first house, conjunct her ascendant and conjunct precisely the Mars in the USA chart. So whatever happens, she does have a fate and a destiny with the USA. And part of where her ascendant is, if I remember correctly, is close to the star Bellatrix, yeah, which is the female warrior. It's the star of searching, but it's also the female warrior. So when they say, cometh the moment, cometh the man, but I think cometh the moment, cometh the woman, yeah? So let's see how these things unfold, and I'll get deeper, of course, into this. I probably need to do a video, a bit more further chart, in-depth analysis, looking at Kamala Harris's chart again and assessing her prospects as we get closer to the election. But don't forget about Algol, yeah, the star of treachery. Uranus will be on that star on the 5th and 6th of November 2025. So keep your eyes peeled. And let's hope he brings out his positive energies, a positive revolution, breaking the glass ceiling, breaking the mold, and installing Kamala as leader. But it's all to play for. But anyway, I will leave it there for now. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. And the next you'll see me will be on Hogili. Mwah! Big love and bye-bye for now.